So, what is ADHD and what are the identifiers for it in children? Where do we start? So, I think one of the most common traits of ADHD is the hyperactivity. And this is different with girls and boys. So, with boys, the hyperactivity, and this is not to get confused with just children normally playing and being hyper and jumping around. This is excessive. So it's not like, all children love to run and jump and play and scream and shout and do all those things. But is this excessive? Like, is it a lot more than their peers? Are they a bit more sort of, bit more bulgy, a bit more forward than some of their peers, and which can sometimes come across as a little bit intimidating to other children without them ever intending that to be the case at all. So the hyperactivity in boys is the running about, screaming, can't sit still, fidgeting, doing this with their leg. That's quite a common one. And generally sort of outbursting and screaming and shouting and running around excessively. Now with girls, the hyperactivity is more internalised, and it can be overthinking, anxiety, chronic overwhelm, chronic criticism as well, especially in girls, especially in young girls, perfectionism, anything where the brain is internalising the hyperactivity, but again in an excessive way. So this is not to get confused with normal feelings of anxiousness, shyness, overwhelm, because we naturally feel these things anyway. This is the excessive versions of those. That's just one thing. Again, so sometimes as well in children with ADHD is that they find it very difficult to wait in turn to talk. Children do that anyway, but again, it's an excessive version of that. So it will be the hyperactivity is when they're like, and they can't wait to, blurt something out because they know they're going to forget it within minutes. Again, that's another one, is forgetfulness, forgetting to brush teeth, forgetting to comb hair. It's called executive dysfunction. And it can be really struggling with things like brushing teeth, and not even liking the feeling of showering, although for children with ADHD often water is actually quite calming and soothing. Sensory issues, that can be sensory issues with food, sensory issues with clothing feeling so tight that they feel suffocated. So it's not just I don't like that t-shirt, it's that t-shirt's literally suffocating me, or will only wear shorts because they feel that trousers are suffocating. There's also moments when they'll struggle with focus. So focus, it's difficult to get children to focus anyway, but again, from an excessive point of view, focus is something children really struggle with, and that can impact their reading and actually their writing as well. Although children with ADHD are incredibly creative, it will often mean that they don't enjoy things like reading and writing so much because it takes such an enormous amount of energy to have that focus to finish that task.